Pravyur Vyasas Tamapansavam Areviham Digbhyo Niptur Gravana Chepanya Parihita Ev. Translation: fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner as if thrown by machine guns. Verse 19. Dayur Nashtha Bhagna Abr Ogahe Savidhit Stanjitun Bhi Varsha Vidhi Puya Keshasrig Vinmutrasthini Chaskrit. Translation: the luminaries in outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of clouds, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, and stool, urine and bones. Verse 20th. Gireha Pratyadarsantya Nanayudh Mucho Anaga Digvasaso Yatudhanya Shulnya Mukta Murdhaja. Translation: O sinless Vidura, mountains discharge weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses armed with the tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. The naked demonesses armed with the tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. Next verse, 21. Bahubhir yaksha rokshobhi atyas ashwarath kunjir atataibhir utsrishta hinsaravacho ati vaishesha. Translation: cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots. Verse number 22. Pra adushkritanam mayanam asurinam enashyat sudarshanastram bhagavan prayunkta tayitam tripat. Synonyms: pradushkritanam, displayed; mayanam, the magical forces; asurinam, displayed by the demon; vinashyat, the desiring to destroy; sudarshanastram, the Sudarshan weapon; Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead; prayunkta, through; dayitam, beloved; tripat, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshan, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon. Purport. Even famous yogis and demons can sometimes enact very magical feats by their mystic power. But in the presence of the Sudarshan Chakra, when it is let loose by the Lord, all such magical jugglery is dispersed. The instance of the quarrel between Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Amrish is a practical example in this matter. Durvasa Muni wanted to display many magical wonders, but when the Sudarshan Chakra appeared, the Vasa himself was afraid and fled to various planets for his personal protection. The Lord is described here as Tripath, which means that he's the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifices. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord confirms that he is the beneficiary and enjoyer of all sacrifices, penances, and austerities. The Lord is the enjoyer of three kinds of yajna, and further described in Bhagavad Gita, there are sacrifices of goods, sacrifices of meditation, and sacrifices of philosophical speculation. Those on the path of jnana, yoga, and karma all have to come in the end to the Supreme Lord, because Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. The Supreme Lord is the ultimate enjoyer of everything. That is the perfection of all sacrifice. Om Jnanati Vrandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasme Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatpadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sehgana Raghunatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadhavetam Savadutam Parijana Sangitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripani Vanchakalpatar Vyakshikapa Sindhu Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. So we're discussing this particular pastimes of the Lord. There is we're at the climax of this play of fight between Rakshasa Hiranyaksha and Lord in the form of boar, Varha-avatar. And we read a few verses how Hiranyaksha and his friends, his allies, his army of yakshas and rakshasas, how they are supporting him by creating these magical and mystical things, pus and blood and rains of pus and blood and urine, and with open hair, these demonesses, and they're creating all these magical experiences so that they can create fear in the heart of Lord Varahadev. That's the idea. Because Lord Varahadev is saving the earth, which was hidden by Hiranyaksha and his gang underneath the Garbhodaksha ocean. So if earth is hidden, then many living entities, those who are supposed to live on the earth, they will not have a place to live. So demons will rule whatever is left. And it's place for many saintly people to come and glorify the Lord. So they will not have a place to come and glorify the Lord. And that gives power to the other side, which is Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So that's the discussion going on. What I find very interesting, because sometimes we see that Varaha avatar, Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Nrsimha avatar also, but especially Varaha, Matsya, Kurma, these are avatars in the so-called lower species. We consider animal species as lower species. And we may not find very attraction to these personalities because they're lower species. And I will read you a verse from Bhagavad Gita, not verse, purport in Bhagavad Gita. This is, I hope everybody can see this. This is purport of the seed verse of Bhagavad Gita 1865, Man mana bhav mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskaru, mam vichasi satyante, pratijane priyasi me. But we will focus on the last paragraph of this purport. Here is the last paragraph. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna. Man mana bhav mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru. Worship me, pay me obeisances, absorb your mind in me. So these are the words. When the paragraph says these words, I mean that's what it's talking about. So these words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form which, with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with the beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. So here some attributes are added to that form of Krishna, where we should concentrate our mind. What are the attributes? That form is two hands. It's carrying a flute. Second, he is bluish. Third, he has a beautiful face. Four, he is a peacock feather. Five. So there are descriptions of Krishna found in Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of the knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna, because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna. So here the purport seems to be giving us some direction which might create a little bit of confusion in our mind. One should not, especially this line, one should not divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, etc. but a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. There's a little bit dilemma here. And now I'm going to read you something from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. And you'll see something bit different flavor, and then we can try to reconcile both. Here, because time is limited, we can just go through directly. This chapter describes the glory of Lord Nityananda. So in this particular verse, Ye ye rupa jane sai taha kahe sakala sam bhave Krishna kichu mithya nahe. Jai Jai Rupa Jane. In whatever form one knows the Lord, Sai Taha Kahe. One speaks of him in that way. Jai Jai Rupa Jane Sai Taha Kahe. Sakala Sambhave Krishna. In this there is no falsity. Kichu Mithya Nahe. There is no falsity. Sakala Sambhave Krishna, since everything is possible in Krishna. When it says everything is possible in Krishna, the Krishna appearing as fish, as kurma, as varaha, boar, it's all possible in Krishna. And there is no falsity. And whichever form the devotee knows, in whatever form one knows the Lord, one speaks of him in that way. He develops glorification. Here is the purport. In this connection, we will mention an incident that took place between two of our sannyasis. This is Srila Prabhupada writing his purport. While we were preaching the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Hyderabad, one of them stated that Hare Ram refers to Shri Balaram, and the other protested that Hare Ram means Lord Ram. Ultimately, the controversy came to me. Again, Srila Prabhupada is writing. And I gave the decision that if someone says that the Ram in Hare Krishna is Lord Ramchandra, and someone else says that the Ram in Hare Krishna, that the Ram in Hare Ram is Shri Balaram, both are correct. Because there is no difference between Shri Balaram and Lord Ram. Here in Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has stated the same conclusion. Jai Jai Rupa Jane Sai Taha Kahe Sakala Sambhave Krishna Kichu Mithya Nehe. If someone calls Lord Ramchandra by the vibration Hare Ram, understanding it to mean, O Lord Ramchandra, is quite right. Similarly, if one says that the Hare Ram means O Shri Balaram, is also right. Those who are aware of the Vishnu Tattva do not fight over all these details. So now in your own minds, you can synthesize what's said in that purport of 1865 Manvana Bhavamakto, focusing our mind on Krishna's two-handed forms, bluish boy with a peacock feather, holding a flute in his hands, and these other forms of the Lord, the other expansions of the Lord, and in this context, the Varaha form, boar form. You can synthesize very nicely. Jai Jai Rupa Jane Sai Taha Kahe. So, in the words of Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he was mentioning there is a rule of law and there is rule of love. So Lord Krishna has to take the form of Varadev, Matsya, Kurma, Nrsingadev to establish the rule of law. If somebody, yada yadahi dharmasya galani bhavati bharata, whenever there is some need to do something specific, to fix something specific problem, Lord has to take the form according to the need, the function of that particular problem. So here the problem is the earth has gone under the Garbhodaksha ocean. So Lord has to take the form so that he can bring that earth back on his tusk. And at the same time, enjoy the fight with his dear devotee, Jai and Vijay. So to establish that rule of law, that you can't steal, just in the court system, it's told to the thief that you don't have the right to steal. That's the rule of law. So for Hiranyaksha, the rule of law is you can't steal the Mother Earth, Bhumi. It belongs where it's supposed to belong, not underneath the Garbhodaksha ocean. Especially for the time of creation, it has to be above the ocean, so living entities can appear on this planet Earth. So that's rule of law. Either when there was a need to establish that rule of law for Ravana, for Shishupal, the Sankarshan, Sudarshan, we hear the word in this particular purport, Sudarshan. Lord is invoking his Sudarshan Astram Bhagavan. It's also very clear from Shukdev Goswami's point of view, Bhagavan, Varahadev is Bhagavan here, very clear. So there is no discrepancy. That's why we read those two purports from Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Varahadev, Lord Varaha is Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan, he is invoking his Sudarshan Astram. Not necessarily to kill Hiranyaksha, but just to show him that you have mace, you have trident, you have magical pus and blood coming from the sky. I also have something magical. Let's face it. So Sudarshan is cutting the trident and mace, and it's not killing. You will see in next few verses, the killing will happen with hands. And that's another beautiful part I was thinking is glorious on the part of the Lord. That Lord is so kind to his devotees of Jai and Vijay that he did not kill both of them with any weapon. He liberated them, he brought them back to Vaikuntha via something he did with his own hands. Hiranyaksha was killed with his own hands, not with weapon. Hiranyakashipu was also killed with his own hands, with his nails. So that's part of his benevolence, that he is so sensitive and caring, and he Lord knows that with my hands, this liberation is guaranteed. My devotee will 100% come back to me. Shishupal didn't want to get that close to the Lord, so he was killed with Sudarshan Chakra. So that's one other point I was thinking. Lord is using his hands, and Sudarshan Chakra is invoked, and trident is broken, maces are broken. Hiranyaksha is bewildered. He started using his hands. So this is beautiful, beautiful pastime to the Lord. Playing some games. It's like some expert in calculus and big math, and he's playing, with some small kids about, some multiplication tables or addition tables, and he's just having fun with them. So it's like having a fun. Lord Varahadev, Lord Krishna is having fun with this devotee of Charanjai. So I'll stop here and see if there's some discussion for next 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any reflection, any comments?
Hare Krishna, Devakinandan Prji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Dandavat Mahatmaji.
Prabhu, like you said, Varavade has the tusk, and for a particular purpose to establish the law, and then the law of love. So the law of love is his two-handed form, Shamsundar. And then there are all the other forms, Varahadev, Narasinghadev, for a particular purpose, the law. But even there are Leelas where Krishna in his two-handed form, Prabhu, is still establishing the law. So how is it we understand that? Either as a baby with Putna and so many other demons.
Yeah, so these are his pastimes. When Putana was killed, I was listening to Radha Govinda Maharaj, beautiful conversation. So just Putana, because we have only 1 minute left. See that it was more law of love, because Putana is coming and trying to nurse Krishna by feeding him. But in that particular setup, Krishna is baby and he is Mother Jashoda's and Nanda Baba's Angan in Gokul. So it's explained when Putana was killed, she was 12 miles long. She fell, and all the trees in those 12 miles range, they were uprooted, and huge sounds were there, and everybody got feared. And now what Jashoda Mai did, and all the gopis, the senior gopis, the friends of Jashoda Mai, they said, our Krishna is contaminated by the touch of this demoness Putana. Therefore, let's bring all the cows in the neighborhood. So they brought all the cows in their house. And first they used the tail of all the cows. And with the tails, they kind of fanned Krishna's body. That would purify Krishna's body that's touched by the demoness Putana. When they bathe Krishna with the mutra of cows, with the urine of the cows. Then they bathed Krishna with the cow dung. They made a paste out of cow dung of the cows and pasted Krishna's whole body. And then they took the dust of the hoof print of the cows, the Vraj we call. From that dust, they also bathed Krishna's whole body. So they purified Krishna. So you can see how the law of love became the supreme in that particular pastimes. Krishna really wanted that more than killing the Putana. Krishna really wanted that love from the senior gopis of Gokula. Establish the law of love. How much you love me. You're trying to protect me. So yeah, I think we should stop with 7:02. We'll have more discussion offline. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
Thank you.
Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Who is the moderator? You can take the mic away.
Thank you very much, Devakinandan Prabhu. Tomorrow, reminder, tomorrow is Ekadasi, fasting from grains and beans. We have Ekadasi buffet from Govindas, and also we have Ekadasi Kirtan tomorrow. So please join. His Holiness Rampad Maharaj retreat is there next week. Schedule is posted. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Prem Kishore Krishna Prabhu. Let's chant 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Narasimha, Jai Narasimha, Jai Jai Narasimha, Radhis, Jai Padma, Mukha Padma, Bhanga, Ugram Veeram
Veeram Mahavishnu,
Jalantam Sarvadom, Narasimha,
Janam Bhadram Mrityam Mrityam
Mrityam Vidmanasam Samdev Bhavan ki jai, Bhakta
Jai.
Samaplat Maharaj ki jai, Gandrasam ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Let us offer
Jai.
our obedience to all the Vaishnava devotees of the world and assembled on this call. Vancha kalpataru
Vanchakalpataruvasya
Vaishnava ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everybody. Hari Bo, Hare Krishna.